Hey Libra, welcome to your August 2017 reading. I hope you had a good month in July, and here we go for your for your August reading. So what's happening astrologically with Libra? So Libra, y'all are going to be having the lunar and the solar eclipse occurring in your 5th and 11th houses, right? So the lunar eclipse, as it sort of coincides with the full moon, represents really powerful endings, things coming to close, the culmination of things, the climax of things, things just, old cycles being closed out. And the 5th house represents that area of our life where creativity lives, joy lives, children, our inner child, childbirth, romance, play, where we allow ourselves to be playful and to have joy. Also, where we allow ourselves to be extroverted and allow ourselves to be sort of the center of attention. And so, with the lunar eclipse happening in your 5th house, being mindful of, what creative projects are coming to an end for you. Is there a new child coming in? Like, is it the end of a pregnancy? Is a child leaving home? Are there creative projects that you have been working on that are coming to an end? Was there a play that you might have been running, that you might have been involved in, that is now coming to a close, for August? Just being mindful of what's happening there. And all the while this is all happening, we still have Jupiter in your 1st house, which Jupiter in the 1st house, the 1st house being the house of self and how we relate to ourselves, and Jupiter being the planet of, expansion and joy and, the luck that we receive in life and the support that we may receive from others and how we grow and evolve. And our beliefs, our convictions, our religious convictions, those types of things. But Jupiter really, for me, representing like a very jovial, good luck kind of celestial body, right? Also, on the August 21st, we have the solar eclipse. So the lunar eclipse is going to happen on the 7th, and then we have the solar eclipse on the 21st of August, and that's going to be happening in your 11th house. And so the solar eclipse is in alignment with the new moon, which is going to be in Leo. And the lunar eclipse is going to be in Aquarius, by the way. So the solar eclipse is going to be in Leo in your 11th house. And so in the 11th house representing it's the Aquarian house, right? Like our friendships, our outside networks with other people, hopes and dreams for the future, our plans for the future, what we want to see happen for the future. Our group associations, how we receive support from those group associations, how we support those group associations. So, looking out for what new beginnings will be coming forth for you with regard to friendship, with regard to group associations. Are like in the closing out of an old creative project, are you now making room for a new dream to come forth? Are you now making room for a new possibility, like a new dream for the future to come through? So that's what's happening with you all for your lunar and your solar eclipses in the houses. And so let's get into the reading. So what messages is needed for Libra for August 2017? Messages for Libra for August 2017. Messages for Libra for August 2017. Capricorn? Is there a Capricorn somewhere in the picture? Or is there a pattern? The destructive pattern that needs to be broken. Messages for Libra 2017. When I was meditating with the cards before I started the video, one of the I just got this image in my head of me telling my nosy landlord to go away. Like, just, I don't know. Like, I just had that image in my head of, you know, when you have a lot to offer, or when, you know, especially I can relate to this being somebody who does tarot, and people know that about me, is that I tend to then attract people who need like my service, and then expect it for free, or expect me to just kind of be some kind of 8-ball magic box that you can just kind of use at your disposal. And I've had, you know, a few people, including the, you know, a person that I rent from, who is, you know, asking me repeatedly for like a free reading. And I don't know, I just had this image as I was kind of meditating on the cards. I just had this image of myself telling, you know, not only this person, but the other people who, you know, who take the gifts that we have for granted, like, just like, please just go away. Like, I'm busy. I have, you know, I don't just sit around and, you know, read people's fortunes for them. Like, I don't do that in general. You know, I try to help people with what I have to offer. And then I just also got this feeling of sitting around and kind of taking inventory of all that I have, like physically, like taking inventory of my physical belongings, and taking inventory also of like, what do I have to offer? What, you know, what's, you know, what do I have to give? But yeah, I definitely got this sense of feeling like all these people are being super needy, and they all just need to go away. We have some pretty intense cards. What's going on, Libra? What is going on? Libra, August 2017. What other messages do we have for Libra? Okay. I feel like that was a slip of the hand. If it's meant to come back out, it'll come back out. Oh gosh. I'm gonna put this on Do Not Disturb. 1 second. There we go. Okay. I have lots of group messages on my text through. This is the card that wanted to come out. I know some of y'all are like, let it come out. I have a lot of group messages on my text thingy, and the groups are going off the hook right now. It's a very, you know what, so we're just going to start with these, and then we're going to see what else wants to come out later. So, Libra, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. So as we started out, we have the Devil, right? And so, and the vibe that I'm getting from the Devil for this reading, for this month, for you all, is that, you know, one, there could definitely be a Capricorn that you feel in bondage to, that you feel that there's some kind of karmic cycle that cannot be broken, that you feel that there is some kind of, you know, link to this person that cannot be broken. It doesn't have to be a Capricorn. It can also be, it can represent a karmic relationship. It can represent a pattern. But I keep seeing the word relationship or relation or relating kind of, you know, like lighting up in my mind. And so I'm definitely feeling that this is a relationship where there's some karmic bonds, there's some karmic bondage that's happening. Yeah, and those can be really difficult relationships because, those are the relationships that we normally have to go through and endure in order to learn and to cycle through whatever behaviors we've needed to cycle through from, I've had like past life readings before done, and there was some karma from previous, other life relationships or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to, term it as, that I needed to walk through in order to kind of get to the other side of, this devil card, which to me, like, is freedom, right? But I definitely am seeing some kind of relationship that you feel that you can't get out of. And that even if, and with this Five of Swords, I definitely see an attempt, right? Like this Five of Swords, it's like I see this card and the Seven of Swords to me really represents a situation where someone is cheating themselves. It represents a situation to me where it's like you're forcing your will within a situation. You're forcing your will within a situation, and you weren't supposed to have that thing that you're forcing your will upon, or the outcome wasn't supposed to be the way that you forced it to become, because it's not a part of your destiny. Like, that's not a part of the cycle of karma that you're bound to. It's not a part of that. So, when I see this card come up, I see this as somebody who's trying to force their power. And usually, like, our power as humans, right, as spirits in a body, in a physical body, in a physical world, we tend to take physical measures to try and exert our will. We try to use our mind and we think that by using our mind, we're gonna, like, outsmart and, we're gonna be smarter than the universe. And, like, that's not... No, that's not the case. This devil card, which to me, it doesn't have to be like a malevolent or a negative energy, right? It doesn't have to be a negative energy, right? It's just that there are lessons that we have to learn, that we are destined to learn, that we need to learn. And depending on how gracefully we want to learn those lessons, and the more that we kind of do this and we run, right? Or we think that we've outsmarted, right? With using our minds, using our physical bodies, using our physical human means, which, pale in comparison, right, to the power of Source and the universe and karma and destiny. Like, these are things that we cannot... we cannot really escape, we are the makers of our destiny, right? But it's like there are certain lessons that we have to learn as we go through our lives, and like we can learn those lessons gracefully or not, right? And it's like I can change the way through which, I receive my karma if I'm willing and open to learning it. But when I'm doing this, it's not really, I see this person, I see this Five of Swords as somebody who thinks that they've won or thinks that they've gotten themselves out of this situation, out of a situation where they must learn, they must endure the karmic lesson. You must endure, and if say that you manage to get out of, say, a relationship that is karmic in nature, or that isn't, that you feel bounded through, like, yeah, walk away, but did you learn the lesson? Walk away, but did you actually learn? Or are you still in bondage to your own self-imposed prison? Like, are you still in the same place? Because these two cards aren't that much different to me. This obviously is a lot lighter of an energy, right? But this energy, they're both very similar in the sense that all three of these human figures, right, in these cards, are in bondage. They're trapped. And so when we try to walk away from a situation like this, where it's kind of, we're cheating ourselves, or it's an unintegrous victory, or, we've tried to use the power of our will and our physical force to get what we want, we generally still end up right back in the same mental processes that ended us up in here, and the same behavioral processes that ended it up in this bondage type of relationship, right? And the more that we avoid this, the more likely we are inviting this, right? I've spoken a lot about, the comparison between, the death card versus the tower card. And to me, the tower card is a change that is inevitable. It's a change that the way that I see it and the way that I feel it in my bones is that it's like, the universe, especially Saturn, right? Capricorn, Saturn. This is a Saturnian card. This is a card that talks about, what are you in bondage to? What are you in bondage to, and what do you need to eliminate? What limits do you need to set for yourself in your life? And the more and more that we don't set those limits, I'll share something personal with you all. Like, I'm a recovering addict, right? Like, I've had issues with addiction and with eating disorders, and so I've had to go walk through a lot regarding like mental health and addiction struggles, right? And the more and more and more I did this and decided that I was going to try and outsmart, like, oh, I'm only going to do this on the weekends, or, before I do this, I'm going to turn around 5 times and clap my hands. Like, whenever I tried to use my mind to create some kind of master plan to try and outsmart the inevitable, this is what ended up happening in my life. This is what ends up happening, is that then the universe says, you know what? And my roommate that I had at the place that I ended up getting help at, she was an intuitive, and I don't think it was a coincidence that I ended up rooming with somebody who was totally, tapped in, tuned in, and was an intuitive. And, she briefly read me, and she just was like, we would kind of sit around and read each other, but she read me one night, and psychic fun. And she read me one night, and she was like, yeah, you were on a path that the universe had not. You had to learn some lessons, and then you took it way too far. And so the universe had to snap you back and bring you back down. And this is what that felt. This is what that felt like, right? When you get snapped back down to reality, when you get snapped back down by the tower, it's like these two people have been living in this tower that is built on false foundations. It's like the castle the sand castle in the sky, or whatever that saying is, right? Castle's in the air. I don't know the exact saying. But these two people have been living in this tower, this dream, been living in the ivory tower of the mind, right? Right, where the mind thinks that where the ego lives, where it thinks that it's the biggest, baddest, smartest thing, and it's really not. It ain't shit compared to what power rests within this energy here, right? So it's like these two people are living in this ivory tower, and then, Source is continually, like the lightning is zapped down, and there's a fire and there's a storm. So the universe continually sends you signs that the path that you're on, that relationship that you're in, the behavioral pattern that you're engaging in is not working for you, and it's not in your highest good. And now you're beginning to venture into a territory where I'm going to have to snap you back and create a situation or change that is inevitable, and that you are just going to be swept up in, right? At least with the death card, it's a little bit, if you look at the imagery of the death card, it's like a slow procession. You have this figure, the skeleton figure in war regalia, whatever you want, war armor, proceeding on this horse forward, and it's a very slow procession. So with the death card, it's kind of like a change that when it happens, you're like, yeah, I saw that coming from miles away. And it was, and here it is now, and it's here. Whereas with this card, it's like, I had no idea that was going to happen. But you also kind of did know. You just chose to kind of put a blindfold on. Yeah. So, whatever situation, you're in that is like is holding you in bondage to something or someone or some behavior pattern. And I feel like it definitely relates to a behavioral pattern that repeatedly presents itself in relationships. I want to clarify the Devil card. Can I get a clarifier for the Devil card, please? Can I get clarification for the Devil card? Yeah. It has to do with it has to do with, yes, a love offer, but it has to do more so with, can you tell me more about this Knight of Cups? Can you tell me about this Knight of Cups? Can you tell me about this Knight of Cups? So whoever this person is, there is definitely there is some kind of psychic intuitive connection between the two of you. And that's why sometimes it can be really difficult when you are in those relationships where this is an energy, that High Priestess energy. I've been there. When that High Priestess energy is present between you and a love interest or a lover, or, even just friends, right? Like I'm currently, I work, one of my coworkers, I love her so much, and she's an Aries, and like, I swear to God, there is some kind of psychic link between me and her. It's where it's getting kind of like, it's getting kind of intense. But there's a reason why right? Like this person, there's a reason why I have that level of connection, right? And it doesn't have to just be romantic. It can be friendship. We meet people all the time that we're meant to have this sort of connection with for whatever reason. It's revealed to us much later. But, when you're in a relationship, when there is sort of a romantic presence in your life, especially like the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups can be Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, somebody that's very much emotionally available, somebody who is emotionally attuned. They may have some of this energy on their own, right? Especially if there's like some Scorpion, if they're a Scorpio, like this is definitely really, really strong. I definitely get that, and this is really strong too. My moon is in my 8th house. So, when we have these energies, it can be hard, to break free, to feel completely, it can be hard. And I can understand, right? I can understand better now why it's like wanting to blind yourself or close yourself off from the psychic link, right? Because we generally, in society, when we talk about psychic ability or we talk about the third eye, we generally always talk about it coming from within the mind, right? Or coming from in this area of our bodies, when really in reality our whole body, right, is aligned with psychic energy and can pick up on things and has an incredible memory, right? I was listening to this one guru, Sadhguru, who I subscribe to, if you want to see his channel below, and he was talking about how, like, my mind can only remember so many things, but my body remembers, like, my ancestry. Like, my body remembers the shape of my, like, great grandmother's eyes back in India, or, my great grandfather's skin tone back, in Africa. Like, there's, our bodies remember, have the capacity to remember things far better than our minds can. Our minds can only really remember what's happening in this lifetime, whereas our bodies can go back generations in its memory. But anyway, I digress. But I can understand if this energy, right, is present between you and another person. I can understand why, then there would be this desire to sort of want to control the mind, right? To control the mind, to take over the mind, to try and take over that ability, or or that connection, or to be blinded by the connection, right? Maybe it's painful. Maybe the connection between you and this person brings up things that you need to learn, right? Things that need to be brought to a close, things that are draining you, that if you just allowed them to pass through and happen, they would naturally leave. But when we don't learn the lessons, sometimes Saturn, once again, comes down and just slaps us with this. And this is really uncomfortable. I mean, these people are like falling down a mountainside. It's not comfortable. You feel they have no physical bodily control whatsoever. And that's what the Tower indicates, right? So next, in the next section down here, we have the Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands, there's a new beginning, right? There's a new beginning. There's a new offer for new creativity. There's a new offer for new spiritual beginnings, right? Because the wands for me aren't just about creativity, it's about spirit. Wands represent spirit to me. But I want to get clarification on the Ace of Wands, because in the midst of all of this, right, we have these two cards here, right? And I believe these two are related, right? And I think what stands in the way of that connection, right? These two wands, right? He's holding a wand coming together. I think there's some heartbreak. Can I get clarification on the Ace of Wands, please? Clarification on the Ace of Wands. Remember that 11th house conversation for the solar eclipse that I briefly mentioned on being mindful of like new friendships, new group associations, new dreams, the possibility of new beginnings, new creativity, right? As old creativity closes out, we bring in new creativity, right? Like, yeah, there are people around you that love you and support you, but this is something that you may have to do. You have to learn to see the value within yourself. Like, you have to learn to recognize that, like, in this process, this might be something, this process, this occurrence, this happening may very well be something that you're just going to have to do alone, right? It's just something that you're going to have to really see the value in by yourself and push through on your own, right? And with the Three of Swords here, definitely, heartbreak, rebuilding, right? That heart center, rebuilding. Can I get clarification on the Three of Swords? Can I get clarification on the Three of Swords? Is this you here, this King of Swords, this air sign, right? Like, I always feel that Libras have a certain softness and elegance that just is not present amongst Geminis and us Aquarians, and I say that as an Aquarian who's always very much admired Libras for their charm. Has what's gone on up here, like, yeah, there's going to be some pain, there's going to be some heartache, but through this heartache, through all of this process comes growth. Like, this is a necessary stage to reach growth, right? But, being mindful, like, are we getting to a place where we're very, are we allowing it to harden us too much? Are we allowing this energy to make us a little bit too emotionally detached? I generally, air signs tend to get a reputation. I think this is because of Geminis and Aquarians. Probably mainly Aquarians and I mean, it's the same, right? Air signs tend to get a reputation of being emotionally detached, of being emotionally unavailable, of not having a lot of emotional depth. When that, we are actually very, very emotional. We just process our emotions in a little bit of a different way. But when I think of Libras, I don't necessarily get that same vibe of being emotionally detached or, dealing with a sign that has problems expressing themselves emotionally. But sometimes I do get the feeling that the Libra that I'm meeting or the face that I'm encountering on, it's not truly who exists underneath, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we all have disguises. We all have different faces and masks that we're learning how to shed in this life. But, I definitely have gotten the vibe with a lot of, Libras, and not because you're trying to intentionally, deceive anybody that you're dating or friends with or whoever, but there is this desire to want to maintain this sort of harmony and this feeling and this vibe that everybody's getting along, there's the harmony, everything is beautiful. Everything that exists around in my physical world is beautiful. My friendships are beautiful. My relationship is beautiful. My home is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. And when things get like this, they're not so beautiful and they're ugly. The people in this photo are falling, and they're falling not so gracefully, right? Like, this process up here, what's happening here is not graceful and it's not beautiful. And Libra is, when I was mentioning before about the disguise wearing, right? Like I said, I don't believe that you do it to deceive anybody. I believe that, we wear masks, and that, there's this Libran tendency to want to put on the mask to kind of try and maintain a harmony or a beauty that actually isn't, it's very superficial. It's very, very, very superficial, and it's not, all the air signs definitely can err on being superficial in very different ways. All three of them, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, we all can have to be mindful of, like, are we being superficial right now? And we all three of us have our own very different way of being superficial, right? But it's not, it's not in order to deceive or to, not connect with people. That's just kind of how we process things. Maybe I'll talk about that later in like another video. But yeah, are we now, going to pretend that none of this has fazed us? Like, nothing phases this king, but, I think what's going on up here would faze anybody. I think what's happening here would faze, even the strongest, most like hardcore Aries, right? Or like this is an uncomfortable place to be, but it's necessary, right? And again, with these two, it's like, what are the karmic patterns that need to be broken, especially with regard to my relationships and how I relate to people, right? And this can also represent, another air sign, another Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius that you're dealing with. That is triggering this energy within you, right? And so now we have this Magician card here, and the Magician is in absolute control of all of the elements that are sitting on this table, and he believes in the infinite, and he believes that anything is possible. Sometimes I hope that he's using his power for good, though, right? Like, it's never really quite too clear for me. Like, what is the Magician gonna manifest or calling into power with that wand of his? So let me get I want some clarification for the Magician card. This section down here, I mean, I'm seeing a connection, but there's some choppiness that I want to kind of clarify. So what's going on with the Magician? Okay, I mean, so very obvious, very clear, right? Like, I mean, you know, I'm summoning these things from the ether, from the heavens, down, you know. Can I get another clarification for the Magician card? I like almost want to do like a small mini reading on the Magician. Again, this Three of Cups, right? Okay, yeah, you know what? This is the bringing in of that solar eclipse energy. That solar eclipse energy, you know, all right, it's all kind of making sense now, right? So with this so the cards are kind of being spread out and laid out by the moon, what's happening. So, okay, thanks for clarifying that. So I feel, you know, a lunar eclipses, you know, oftentimes deal with revealing, and the moon in general oftentimes deals with revealing the shadow aspects of ourselves. The shadow parts of ourselves, the parts of ourselves, right? Like the devil aspects of our character. The things unhidden, right? Our ability to transform and to respond. Like, how do I respond when this Plutonian Scorpio energy of transformation comes knocking on my door, right? And you know, where your moon is, like what's happening with the moon can really, you know, give you the emotional capacity to deal with, you know, these types of energies on a regular basis, right? Which is kind of what I feel like I do a lot with my moon in the 8th house. I'm constantly trying to break apart things and break things down. And, you know, so if your moon is in Scorpio, you have an 8th house moon or a water moon, but mainly Scorpio or 8th house moon, I get it. We're constantly trying to we're constantly like putting ourselves in bondage, then cutting ourselves open, then putting ourselves back in bondage and cutting ourselves open, putting ourselves back in bondage, right? But with that solar eclipse coming in, with that solar new moon 11th house energy coming in for you all, I definitely see, you know, things getting a lot better. I definitely see some changes coming in. And I think what this mini spread here with the Magician, the 7 of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune, what I'm getting is that it's, you know, it's if you want these things, summon them. If you want these hopes and dreams and wishes, summon them. Because they're gonna come in, you know. And the Wheel of Fortune, to me, you know, it can relate to the 9th house, and it can also relate to me to the 11th house because it's about our luck and our fortune and the wishes and dreams that we hope to bring forth, and what's to come in the future for us, and, you know, sort of things that are meant to be successful, right? Like this Magician wants whatever he's summoning in to be successful and to be called in successfully, right? And you know, even though on its face, in its practical, literal meaning, right, if you're familiar with tarot or the Rider-Waite deck in particular, the 7 of Cups is like, you know, fantasies and delusions and illusions. But sometimes when I pull this card out, I also just read it as like somebody who was really observing their dreams and really who's in touch with what they want, and is recognizing that in order that these dreams are still existing in this dream world, and that they need to be brought down to the physical world if they want to be manifested, right? So this Magician, in a sense, is like, whatever's up here, I'm bringing down into the physical plane, right? Like his wand is pointing up towards all of these things, all these hopes and dreams and wishes, right? That can definitely come in and be brought in, and they're meant to be successful, you know? I want to pull One more card for the Three of Swords, though. Can I get one more clarifier for the Three of Swords? I said one. Three of Swords. One more clarifier. You know, I also want to make sure that I'm not getting to a point where I'm overdoing the reading. Three of Swords. Clarifier. Three of Swords. Clarifier for the Three of Swords. I think they're saying, nah. Yeah, I you know, sometimes you just have to listen to the cards, right? The cards read you, not the other way around. So Three of Swords, right? Once again, it's just like this, right? This Tower energy. These two people are falling into two different paths. They're no longer on the same path. That can obviously create some emotional, heart-centered discord, right? But, you know, don't allow it to turn you into someone who now wants to be emotionally detached. Because I do see great new things coming in for you. I do, you know, it's up to you, right? Like, this Magician is taking action. The Magician card, to me, like, I've heard people refer to it as Gemini, but I think it's also a very Aries energy where it's like, I am getting what I want, I'm manifesting it right now, you know? And I'm in control of all these elements, and I bring things down from the ether into the physical world. It's just, like, very Aries energy, you know? Can I get an outcome card for Libra for August 2017? Outcome card for Libra. New beginnings, yeah. I think new beginnings, walking in faith, walking in the belief that, you know, I think this tower energy can sometimes rock us, but it also rocks us in a way that when we're done with this energy, when this energy passes, we're like, wow, I can walk through anything. I can walk into the ocean and it won't be half as bad as this shitty situation here, right? So being grateful. And I always sort of see this Page of Pentacles as somebody who views the value in their experiences, who views the value in what they have to offer. And what we have to offer sometimes is the really tough shit that we've had to walk through. What we have to offer is sometimes, you know, how did I get free from this, right? And how can I share how I got free with somebody else so that they can be here too with me, alongside with me. So yeah, that's your reading, Libra, and I hope that it resonated with some of you. And if it didn't resonate with you, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of other Libra readings. It's thundering outside as I said that, right? Loud and clear. There are lots of other readings for you to check out, and to watch, to listen to, and this is not the only one, and it probably won't be the only one that you resonate with if it does resonate with you. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up or leave a comment below, a nice comment, please. And let's only circulate, you know, positive, you know, nice energy here. And I will see you all in September. And if you want a personal reading with me, you can email me at tattoosandtarot@gmail.com, or you can go to my personal website, which is tattoosandtarot.com, and click on the reading section. So I hope you all have a good rest of the month, and I will see you later. Bye.